Hey everyone, just doing a at-home YouTube video, trying out this new Flipcam app on my phone. It's not necessarily new; it's new to me. Still trying to modernize my uh, YouTube videos to make them more, I don't know, watchable. So you're not looking at me from weird angles and stuff. And nice thing about this app is you can actually make your phone switch from front camera to the rear camera as you're recording. There's a slight delay in between the flipping, but for what I use it for, I think it's pretty good. Um, right now, I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to make stuff work. And especially when I do up close videos and stuff, sometimes, like this is fine if you're just walking or something like that. For example, got to get out of my old man chair. I got a free electric assist chair from my boss. His father-in-law, unfortunately, had passed away a couple of years ago, and they were cleaning out their house, and they had this, and he was going to throw it away. I'm like, well, like I'll take it. I'm like, it's a free chair, and I'm like, it's somewhat comfortable, and it's green. It doesn't quite match, so I threw a bed cover over the top of it so it matches the rest of the furniture in my living room. And this will be a good, I guess, example of how to use this function. Right now, I'll flip you over to the front camera. Here you have the front camera here. It's actually kind of dark, but hard to see a little bit. But anyway, you got a blue couch here and a blue chair, and there's a little one of my random custom things I made a while ago. Actually, my dad did, I guess, to be technical. That's a crankshaft out of a 2.3 liter Ford engine and the flex plate off an automatic transmission, which I think it's off of an 80s Mustang. I believe that's what that's from. Uh, I had a 83 Ford Ranger in high school and was a little hard on the engines, and I acquired quite a few, we'll call them donor engines that gave up some parts to make a running truck for me. Anyway, and other thing I made here was this is something this is old. I've had this for quite a long time. Honestly, I've had it shoot probably I was probably still in high school. I've had it for that long. So 2007 era. That's how old this lamp is. And anyway, my dad ended up drilling a hole and running an electrical cord. If you look real close, you can see there's a piece of pipe here. He ran the cord up through it, and then he drilled out the snout of the crank. He's actually a welder, and he has access to the machine tools, so he drilled out the crank, and then he screwed a light socket into the top of it. Which, sorry if you're getting glared out, but yeah, I got some cobwebs in there. Shows you it's not new. And then I found this lampshade. I wanted something that was black, and then this actually wasn't on here before. This is just actually a printout of a Ford logo I found online. I don't own this or anything like that, so. And what I did is I took clear spray paint and sprayed both sides of this paper and stuck it to this lampshade and then sprayed over the top of it and then allowed it to dry. And it actually works pretty good. It sticks on there quite well. You could tell a little bit around the edges that there's something there, but honestly, it doesn't really look that bad in my opinion. But yeah, this is my little living room tour here. Automotive is what I do for a living, so definitely automotive inspired. That's a Dodge hubcap. I don't know what era. I found it in a garage at my uncle's house. It'd been laying there. It fell off of somebody's vehicle, I think, as they drove by his house, and he just found it in the ditch. Anyway, over here we got my roadkill signed Rotson poster, and above it I have it's out of a 40 Econoline van from the 60s, I believe. It's one of the headlight benzels, and I kind of customized it a little bit. Since I was talking about my Ford Ranger pickup, this Bobcat logo is actually one of the vehicles that was a donor for the motor for me. It had a 2.3 in it, and actually, currently my '88 Ranger has the intake manifold and the carburetor off of that Mercury Bobcat because that motor came with a 2-barrel progressive Holly Weber carburetor on it. And here's a photo of my high school truck. About probably one of the nicer photos I had of it. That's, that's an old photo. I made it into a clock face, as you can see. And it's kind of a rinky-dink thing. I took like a paper plate and put some, I don't know, padding in between it, like foam padding. And then I taped it to the back of the paper plate, and then I stuck the clock face through the middle of it, and then trimmed the dials so they'd be long enough. And then the numbers, of course, those are handwritten on there with just the marker. And I've had it for quite a long time, and I got this little badge here back. Some of you guys might remember National Street Machine Club. I was originally paying a membership to them in 2007, this year I graduated. Had a membership to them. They used to give away a lot of stuff. I'll show you here my list of. They used to give away, or not give away, I should say. You had to pay for it, but all these books here was about all different kinds of things, how to work on your automotive, cars or hot rods, things like that. And they provided a lot of resources of that nature. Anyway, I'm going to flip you back around here. And we're back to the selfie whatever camera. And figured I'd try this thing out. It's kind of neat. I don't know. I'm not... Like I said, the delay thing, there's going to be some glitchiness probably to the video, but I'm just trying to make it work. Anyway, we're going to go back to showing off some stuff in the room here. Go back to the front camera. I said it's just to see how this thing works. Just a second here. All right, back to the front camera again. Okay, since we're talking about the Ford Econoline thing. A friend of mine in high school, I guess, had a creek over by his house with a bunch of old trucks, I guess, that were parked in it. They're probably using them as a retaining vehicles to keep the creek from silting in. Anyway, this is a F750 big job truck fender logo decal or emblem, I guess you would call it. It's actually metal. And yes, that I colored that in. That's not original to it. That was originally, I don't know what color it was originally, but I colored them in blue because Ford's blue. So I thought that would be kind of neat. I figured I'd just give it a place to hang on the wall here. It looked kind of neat. Since we're still on the automotive thing. Here's a little bit of different flavor for some of you guys. You're probably wondering what this is. This is just a, we'll call it paper art, because it's completely made out of paper. I got a wild hair one day and decided I wanted to make me a model engine out of paper. That's basically, we'll say 98% made out of paper. The rest of it is hot glue and tape, and occasional Sharpie to color in the colors. It's got like Azumi style pipes on the side. I made the serpentine kind of looking belt out of just a strip of paper, and I made a fan, of course, and then up on top there's an air cleaner, which I don't know if I can show it to you guys up there. You can kind of see it sitting up there, and then it's got a little distributor thing, and actually used to have plug wires on it made out of pieces of just like small electrical wire, but I took them off because they kept falling off all the time. And then of course I did like the chain, which I actually made that out of little links of wire, and made it look like, it was an engine hanging from the ceiling kind of thing, like they do for display pieces. And it's not really a specific engine, it's just a generic. Since I like Ford's, the distributors on the front, so that's kind of what I based it off of. It'd be like a big block Ford, I guess you would call it. Anyway, continuing on with the automotive theme, I got myself here. Some of you guys might recognize the hubcap. It's a Oldsmobile Rocket 88 hubcap. I got it from my friend's dad. He does antique stuff, and he'll go to garage sales and stuff kind of randomly sometimes, and he'll find weird stuff like this. He didn't have any use for this, so he said, "Hey, you want this?" And I said, "Sure." I've gotten some stuff from him back when I was in high school. I'm not really close with them anymore, but back in high school I was pretty good friends with his son, and we used to hang out quite a bit, so I got some stuff from him on occasion. And on the other end of the spectrum, I talked about a roadkill poster. Here's I another one. This is Mighty Car Mods poster, signed as well. And this is a custom art thing. That's a March Super Turbo. In case some of you are wondering what the heck that is, it's an actual car. It's a Nissan March Super Turbo. Nissan Marches were only made in the Japanese market. These guys are based out of Australia, so Australian market actually gets some vehicles from Japan, whereas the US gets some, but not very many. So I'm sure some of you are well versed with that. As for me, I was kind of new to this. The interesting thing, the reason I got this poster because I thought it was such a unique car, and maybe it's not that unique, but to me, I've never seen anything quite like it. It has both a turbo and a supercharger on this engine. It's a 4-cylinder engine with both a turbo and a supercharger. It's not a very big car. I would compare it to like a Volkswagen GTI, probably about the size of it. They're not a huge car. But yeah, that's a little unique thing I tried out there. And anyway, here's my custom made calendar that I made. I basically printed off a bunch of photos of random vehicles I have, and just, here's I went to a Mopar meet. There's a Nebraska Challenger Club that I'm a member of. This was a couple years ago. We went out to the Sac Air Museum over by Ashland and kind of near Omaha, Nebraska there. And these were all the guys that showed up. There were more cars that showed up, but unfortunately, some of the guys were afraid to drive in the grass because they had a lot of money invested into their cars, and they didn't want to get them stuck in the grass. And I will admit, even my car, I was a little nervous because it was kind of a steep place to park a car. But anyway, that was a fun day. Had a good time there. This is actually another photo of my car at the event, and you can see back there they got a rocket in the background there, or missile. I forget what exactly that is. It's been a while since I've been out there to look at anything. Kind of on the automotive stuff still. I've talked about my Ranger a few times. Here's something I thought was actually really neat. We'll flip you guys around here so I get a little bit more light. Okay, we're back. I'll take this down for you and kind of show it to you. This here is a 1980s Ford Ranger Johnny Lightning replica. If you look real close, you can see it looks a little odd. Well, the reason it's like this is because I actually painted it this way. It's supposed to mimic my Screaming Bohemian truck, and other than the lettering that's missing on the side, it's very close. The rims, of course, are 4x4 Ranger rims, which obviously my truck's not a 4x4. But I wanted something to go along with my truck. I thought it'd be real neat, and that's what I came up with. It's obviously a one-of-one deal, so you won't see another one like it. One other thing I'll show you. This is what the truck actually looked like originally. I actually bought 2 of them just because. Here's what it actually looked like when it came out of the package. It was a forest green and I don't know, white kind of colored. Neat looking truck on its own, but I did something a little different, and I wanted to customize it, which is why I got 2. They were a limited production run. They might still make them, I'm not sure. I had a hard time getting them. I had to order them through a toy company. Some people on a Facebook group, Ranger enthusiasts, like first and second gen trucks, whatever you want to call them, anything 83 to 88, and then I think there's like the second gens they threw in there too, but whatever. Somebody said they were ordering them, and I happened to find I asked them what site they got them from, and they said, yeah, you can get them. I was like, whoa, I've never seen. And I used to collect Hot Wheels. For some of those that are wondering why is this relevant, or what does this have to do with stuff you're doing. I used to collect Hot Wheels when I was a kid, and I wasn't like the kid that had them all in boxes and crates and like polished them down. I wasn't that type of collector. I was the one that like, oh, I like that car, it's cool, I want to play with it. That's what I did. And although I've gotten older, obviously, so I don't do that as much anymore, but I still kind of have that mindset. I kind of want to buy something that I enjoy. To me, it's not a collector thing. It's not like I'm not gonna buy what do you want to say? I'm not going to go buy a Ferrari and put it in a glass case and never touch it. One of them things. I'm going to want to drive it. I don't buy cars that I can't drive. I look at it that way, I know, and then that's just, little stuff like that I'm trying to incorporate. And anyway, the reason, getting off subject and kind of rambling, but the reason I bought this truck here, or I painted this truck up like here, is because when I take my truck to car shows, I actually, I'll bring that with me. Unfortunately, I keep forgetting that in the book of my restoration project. I have a book here I can show you real quick. Just thumb through it. I won't show you every picture, but you guys will get the idea of things I started out with. I'll flip you to the front because that's what this video is about. Okay, back to the front here. As you can see, here's a restoration process. First picture here is me dragging it home behind. I used to have a 2001 Jeep Cherokee. That was me and a friend of mine, whatever, dragging it back. It was pouring rain that day. Real awful experience getting that truck out. That truck looks nothing like it does today, other than the fact the body hasn't changed. This is it's going to be hard to see in this photo. Where my finger is here, this is where I cut out all the rust. There was absolutely nothing left. This is the driver's side floor pan. There was absolutely nothing left. Right up here is the parking brake. And this will be like, if your feet would go this way in the photo. But kind of give you a flip through. So a lot of this is just rust repair, things of that nature. There's just a ton of photos of all the rust repair, and because this truck was very rusty. The reason I bought this truck, and here's the completed, this is what it looked like when I was done. I was actually pretty proud of it, and it still looks pretty good today. And these are the two grills that I made into one grill because there's all these plastic tabs were broken, and I ended up having the glue. We used panel bond and glued it together. There we go. Now you can see. You can see the panel bond here that I ended up fixing them, and then it had a glued tabs on. Here's a picture of the truck before I did anything to it. I kind of liked this little thing they had going on in the front there with the pinstriping. It was kind of a neat look. Here's a picture of the interior as I was gutting everything. Originally, the interior was actually tan. The truck has black interior now. I painted this all black. That went away because I didn't want that in there anymore. I wasn't a fan of the carpet inside the truck. As you can see, black steering wheel. It's got well, it's not a black steering wheel, but eventually I put a different wheel in it. So here's the process of me painting all the interior trim pieces, just laying on the hood. Painted all the dash black. So just all sorts of photos of me painting it. This is I used to see these in like J.C. Whitney all the time. They have 4 speakers up in the headliner. I bought one of these because the headliner that was in it actually wasn't bad, but it was tan, and I wanted to do something different. My 83 that I had in high school was a kind of a base model, so it didn't have a headliner. It was this body color. The truck was already black, so I didn't have to do any painting, but it looked kind of funky without anything up there, so I went ahead and put that in there. Plus, it was kind of a neat addition to the truck. Here's another photo of the truck here. I redid the seat cover. That's the actual seat cover. It's not just a generic throw-over cover. It's a custom fit like bench seat, like you would for an upholster kind of thing. I bought it from Raybuck, I believe was the company, and it's been a pretty good seat cover. I made a battery box out of stainless steel, so the battery in theory won't eat through the box again. That's what happened to the original one. Had to put new door cards on it because they were tan, and this was just the simpler route to do it. Plus they're a lot better shape. Kept the chrome because I like chrome. Got a dash cover to go over the top of the vinyl dash, which cracked really bad, and also it was tan, so this was a nice dash cover option, added to the look of the truck. There it is, installed in the truck. Look how nice that looks now. This is what the outside of the truck looked like before I did anything to it. It had these rims on it when I got it. I didn't mind the rims, I should say, but I wasn't a fan. They were still 14s, and they had rust, like the center caps were rusty. There were aluminum wheels. Here's more pictures. As you can see, here's the original dash here. It was all cracked. These were custom speaker mounts I had to make. This kind of metallic area out here on the outside, I had to make those because aftermarket speakers, you couldn't get the 3-bolt style anymore. The only ones I could find were 4-bolt. So I had my dad, like I said, he's a machinist and a welder. He is actually able to plasma cut these out, and it's a three to 4 hole adapter basically, and then they go underneath these screen covers, which are metal, up on the dash, because there's on this truck, since there's a little bit more deluxe model, there's one on the left and one on the right, or driver's side and passenger side. Here's a picture of me after I just put the seat cover on the seat, and right after I put the speakers in and the headliner. And I also made this piece here because there was lights up above here, but they didn't shine through. I thought it was weird. This is actually made out of a plastic container I found. It just happened to be clear, and I ended up screwing it into the roof so it looks a little bit, kind of matched the ribs in the roof. That was the whole reason I went with it. This here is the original 2-liter out of the truck. It was not running right. I think something happened to it. I don't know. I never really dug into it. I didn't want a 2-liter in it anyway. I already had a 2.3 that was a running engine. So plans immediately for this was pull it out, put the 2.3 in, because that one ran. This one did not run. The person I bought it from said it had engine problems. So, and here's the the demise of this truck, which, hindsight being 2020, should have already just gave up on it and took it to the body shop I don't work at the body shop. I work in the mechanic side of things, but it's attached to the same shop that I work at now. I should have just had one of my bosses just tackle this, and wouldn't have had all these issues. See, this is the original problem. This is all crinkled up real bad, and it was severely dented right here. I tried knocking this out. Well, I ended up, this was off of a 91 Ford Ranger pickup. The boxes are the same. I ended up trying to graft pieces of metal together. Well, I welded it here, had a problem, had to splice it. Then I started getting a little carried away with this is like a short sand fiberglass kind of waterproofing stuff that they call it Duraglass. I was having a lot of issues with it. Well, here I'm trying to put primer on it and stuff. And then after I did that, I started messing with the fender and started finding rust, and started to get a little disheartened about it, because my first impression of the truck was it was in good shape. Well, not so much. As you can see there, big old chunk of Bondo. I mean, that's probably true to size. That's the width of my index finger. Here's another picture of it, and here's the cutout portion. There's all the rod I found in it. That was actually fixed with packing tape and expanding foam originally, and somebody sprayed over the top of it. The pages are all stuck together because I had this at a car show one year and it rained, and the book was laying out on the fender. Here's after I put the patch panel in. This is the passenger side, I believe, or no, driver's side. Same kind of deal on there. Well, this is the part where this became an issue, and I kind of stopped, because as you can see, there's a lot of body filler, and I didn't know what else to do. Here's the saving part of this truck. This is when I started working at the place I work now. This is sitting in the shop in the back bay. We got the fenders put on. I got a windshield put in it. The photos aren't super awesome, so I apologize for that. This is actually the door off of my 83 Ford Ranger pickup. Same in this photo. That's why it has this weird silver stripe on it, because originally that's how my other truck was. This is when I put the other box side on. We actually screwed and panel bonded that fender on, versus welding like it did on the other side. So this truck will be a testament for how good panel bond is versus welding. We'll see which one gives out first. This was something I completely overlooked and did not know was a problem. This here is it was rotted out on the bottom side of the door. My boss actually figured it out for me. We ended up fixing it. You can see the patch was inserted here. Like I said, there was a lot of rot in this truck that I was not aware of, and this is the sitting in the shop there. He was sanding off all my handiwork. Just taking you through the whole restoration process. There's just another view of the truck. This is that tailgate off that same 91 Ford Ranger pickup. Unfortunately, the tailgate that was on this truck was in very rough shape. That truck did have the one that just said FORD on the back in the big script letters. My 83 was also like that. I was going to use the tailgate off my 83, but we found a bunch of pinholes on the bottom of the tailgate and decided not to use it. So, opted for this tailgate, which they did have it this year. It would have been in a little bit fancier model. Not so much this one, but anyway, continuing on, this is when we started, well, my boss started getting into a little bit more heavier body work. As you can see, he's doing like I don't know what they call that, skim coat or whatever you want to call it, with the body filler and stuff. This is the front of the truck. We're getting the hood prepped, got the grill and everything off of it. You know, now he's going over all the dents that were in the fender from factory, or the aftermarket fenders. They had some dents in them, so we're fixing that. The fenders that were on the truck had some really bad panel gaps because of being a cheap aftermarket fender. I just literally bought the cheapest thing I could on eBay for this truck. They didn't fit the greatest. Driver's side fender fit a lot better than the passenger side fender, and that's saying a lot because the driver's side fender didn't fit very good either. Here's the prep process of the tailgate. If you look real close here, you can see how it says FORD, but notice how it has all them big holes in it. We decided not to mess with that. Process there, just more step-by-step stuff we're doing to the truck. Sorry it's taking so long. The pages are like basically taped together at this point. But here we are, process of getting stuff taped off, getting ready for paint. Obviously here's primer. The truck's sitting in primer, you know, all 4 pages there. Take you guys through all the process. They are taped off, more taping off. Starting to prime the tailgates, primer the hood. This is what they call hot rod black. He had a quart or a gallon of it laying over. He was just kind of doing a base coat in hot rod black. Then he started doing the whole truck. Yeah, this is all hot rod black. Then he did the green first, and yes, this is the green that the truck actually is. We painted everything green first. You can see how he did that. Rather than having to tape it twice, he just taped it once. But he said it was easier to tape the green than it was to be taping the black, so there's that. Just taping it off. I believe this is the first photo of the black being sprayed. And this is the photo of the tailgate getting sprayed, and of course all the black being done on the tailgate and the trim on the tailgate. I went away from the aluminum color because I thought green would match a little bit better. As you can see here, I thought it looked a little better. It does look goofy because you can see there's a gap here, but I wasn't going to paint that green. It just looked weird. As you can see there, that looks really neat. It's very, very tidy looking in my opinion. Got the taillights put in. And if you look real close, yes, you can see it's not quite perfectly square, but that was my own doing, so I was able to live with myself because of that. Yeah, it's like working on an IHOP menu. It's like somebody spilled syrup over the pages, but it's just from water and sitting outside. Here's a first picture of it all fully painted. Got the bumper put on, got the grill put on, put a chrome bumper on it. Something this truck did not have. It didn't have the chrome trim, and it didn't have a chrome bumper, and the grill was black. I wanted chrome because that's what my 83 had. Did have chrome mirrors on it originally. That I did not change. Anyway, there's a truck basically fully assembled there. Here's a first photo of me having it at home. Drove it back to work a couple days later. We had to do a few more little bits and stuff to it. I think he said he wanted me to take it home for a while, and then we ended up buffing it. And then we put the logos on it. That was the thing we did. There it is. First picture of it having all 4 tires. These are actually a Speedway Motors replica of a 70s Chevy 5-spoke, I don't know, kidney bean they call them, wheels. They're like a rally wheel that would have came on like a Chevelle or a Nova. I always thought these rims looked really neat. I found they were a dual pattern. They worked on GM or Ford vehicles, and since Rangers share the same bolt pattern as Mustangs do, it's a 5-on-4.5 bolt pattern. I went with these wheels. I thought they looked really neat. They are a chrome wheel. They're steel. Front wheels, I believe, are 6 inches wide by 15 inch. The backs are 8 inches wide by 15s. I wanted to do kind of the classic 70s, 80s kind of, oh, the people call it the stink bug kind of look. You know, the front end's down, back end's up. I like the look. Some people don't like it, but that's just me. Okay, back here, this is a custom thing. I actually found these online. I'd mentioned before. Mighty Car Mods. These guys, they went over to Japan, and there's a group automotive enthusiast over in Japan there. They're called the 88s. I thought it was just real neat how it tied in. I was born in 1988. This truck was made in 1988, so I figured it was very fitting for the truck, and it just happened to work out that it was a 80s kind of theme. This is actually the first car show I had this truck at. Notice how there's no Screaming or Little Bohemian on the side of it. This is also the first picture of the bed liner being done. I took it to a place and had the bed liner done. He actually sandblasted it out and put a bed liner in it. I believe it was about $400, which wasn't too bad, honestly. Here's a picture of the finished interior. I got these are off of I want to say an '01 Ford Ranger pickup. I had to get different visors for it because the factory visors were a vinyl or leather tan, and obviously it didn't match the truck, and I wasn't going to paint them. So these are off of like I said, 2000s-ish era Ford pickup, and I was able to get them to work in this truck. I did have to do a little bit of customization with the mounting since the original visors didn't have a mounting place. They just kind of hung up on the top. These actually had to make a mounting tab. And here's the sound system. Got two 8-inch subs, 1,000-watt amplifier. It's all Boss Audio stuff. I tried to tie it all together so it was all similar. The radio, however, is some cheapy Chinese thing that I found online, but it looked retro, so I was trying to go for a retro look. Here is me. I'm in the process of switching the exhaust over. I put a header on. This is a custom air cleaner. Here's the process of me taking it off. I had this green valve cover on the original motor, and this was an adjustable timing thing, which didn't quite work out because I didn't quite understand how it worked. Some people probably get it, but it was a little bit above my knowledge. Anyway, here I am in the process. I might have skipped a page here, just a second. Yeah, there we go. Alright, this is the header I got for it. It's a universal header. It's for a Mustang 2 or Ford Pinto or Mercury Bobcat. This is me welding a down pipe onto it because it was a little bit too short for the application on the pickup. Here's it coming off the bottom here before I welded this on there. And this is the shorty glass pack I used. Here's another photo of the welding the flange onto it. I went to a 3-volt flange style, like a typical header. Here's the side kick exhaust like I had on my original Ranger. And here's this another shot of all the welds and junctions I had to put underneath there to clear some stuff. This is actually the motor that I ended up putting in the truck that's in there currently. This is came out of a Lotus kit car. The guy pulled it. It was something he had bought, and that motor was already in it. The motor was already in it, and the guy decided to go with the fuel-injected motor and sold this motor to me, I believe, for $150, which it was a running engine. It's still in the truck now. It runs fine. All I basically did was swap the engine out. The reason I swapped the motor out because that old motor was starting to burn some oil. Every time you started up, you'd see it would be puffing smoke out the tailpipe, and I believe it was burning oil. So this motor was in a lot better shape. It came out of a 80s Fox body Mustang. I believe it was also an 83, ironically. And that's the little bit better motor. This is me just checking everything out, pulling it apart, making sure it was okay. This is me touring around with an idea of putting a 2-barrel Holley carburetor on it, which did not happen because of just wasn't the right thing for it. Here I am. Oh, this is actually when I was putting the camshaft in. I bought a towing cam. It was a 420 duration cam that I ended up putting in this engine, which unfortunately These were the bane of my existence, these valve springs. I ended up goofing up, and I forget exactly, I don't know what order any of this stuff's in. I ended up screwing up and got the wrong valve springs for it and ruined a expensive cam. Anyway, this is me putting it in the engine. Got it all put together. Looks nice. I painted the valve cover to be red, like the little valve or the air cleaner is. The air cleaner was already like that. Anyway, this is the final photo, I believe, of this car. There's a bunch of extra photos on there. I got a few updates on the truck since then, but nothing too crazy. Anyway, that's the completion of that truck from start to finish by me, and some help from my boss and a few other local businesses, which I can't remember their names off the top of my head. Speedway Motors is the big one because they came up with the rims and stuff for me, tires and stuff. A lot of it was eBay purchased, I'll be honest, because that's how I do stuff. Some people would disagree and say you should go directly to a company to do that. Comp Cam's camshaft is what I put in there. Tried using Speedway valve springs for it. Well, those are the ones that ruined the first comp cam, unfortunately, because the listing was incorrect. Might have been partially an error on my part, but it could have been an error on their listing too. I can't really place blame on anybody, but it was an expensive oops. It was about a $300 cam, and I had to do it twice, so that kind of sucked. And trying to reach out to Comp Cams, they asked them if they had any valve springs or that they recommended for that camshaft. They said no, they do not make valve springs for that motor. However, in their listing, it says to replace all rolling components, basically all valve train, valve springs, what they say, valve springs, lifters, and camshaft when replacing a cam. Well, they didn't have the parts available, and I asked them if they would warranty it if something went wrong. They said yes, if you use factory parts. So I just said, heck with it, put the factory valve springs back in it, put it together. I got new rockers, I got new lifters for it. Since it trashed the cam, I had to get new rockers anyway, so I just went ahead and got new lifters and reused the factory valve springs. And the other incorrect valve springs I still got laying around here. They were a dual valve spring, which I was told was supposed to work with that cam. Did not work with that cam. They were actually made for some sort of modified racing application, which used Chevy valves, which that truck does not have. That's still a stock engine, from what I know. The lower end might have oversized pistons in it. I don't know, but otherwise that motor is basically stock. Anyway, wrap this video up. It was just a random thing to try out this new camera function. I think it works pretty good. Haven't posted a video in a while. I had posted a very short video of me reviving that Husqvarna YTH 150 that I honestly did not have high hopes for that engine at all. I bought a John Deere 300 riding mower to replace it, but unfortunately that one had some issues of its own. It's currently at a small engine shop right now. The guy's scratching his head, unfortunately, so hopefully he can figure it out for me, because it's doing something weird. It'll run at a quarter throttle, and that's all it wants to do. I've tried pretty much all the mechanical things I can think of, adjusted valves, adjusted points, tried a different carburetor on it, put a different coil on it, had the condenser and points had been replaced before I bought it, and it'll only run at a quarter throttle. Otherwise, when you try to rev it up, it tries to die. And every once in a blue moon, the thing will rev up and run good for about 20 seconds, and then it tries to die again. So I don't know what's going on. It's got a single-cylinder 16-horse Kohler on it, and I don't know much about small engines. Like, I'll be honest, I will take on an automotive job way sooner than a small engine project. I know that seems completely backwards to some of you people, and I get it. I didn't start out with small engines, though. The first engine I worked on was that Ranger pickup, actually, that I was showing you photos of. And, well, the one I had in high school, I should say. But this is I'm familiar with those motors, and just kind of went directly from not knowing anything into automotive. So that's a little odd, I know, for some of you guys that grew up working on, little
Briggs or Tecumseh or those sort of motors when you used to have an auto class or a small engine class in your school. I went to a Catholic private school and they did not have that. We had a wood shop and a welding course, and that was it. And as well as some CAD and stuff, which I never took. I did one wood shop. Oh, I did two wood shops. One was mandatory because it was part of our curriculum, and then the second one was an optional one because you had to have a extracurricular to fill in your day, which I thought was kind of dumb. But anyway, it was just something to get you started in, and basically ended up making a cabinet, which mine looked rough. I was not a wood person. Not that I can't do stuff out of wood, but my stuff's never looks perfect fit and finish when I'm done. I Welding to me is a little bit more fun because you can add stuff if you screw up. Well, wood's a little different. You cut too much off, you're kind of screwed. Welding, you can kind of cheat. But anyway, that's gonna wrap up this video. It's already at almost 41 minutes, so this was just a trial and error on this camera phone just to see if I can do front and rear facing cameras, and so far it works pretty good. I'm gonna have to get an actual camera mount for my tripod, so when I do stationary videos, I can come over and hit the button to switch from forward to rear from when I'm talking to you like this, or if I'm trying to show you something, or if I'm trying to walk, I can show you where I'm going and it doesn't look like I'm just like going around in a circle all the time, which not exactly that professional. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like my videos and comment if you got something to say, and if you don't, that's fine. Just I appreciate you guys watching. Check out my other videos. There's a bunch of random ones. Some of them it's just literally just me talking about stuff, but if I ever get around to it, I'm trying to do a little bit more like thing-based videos, not just general stuff. Like I said, I should have done one when I was redoing that motor on that Husqvarna, but I was a little nervous that it wasn't going to turn out right. But needless to say, it ended up working out. I'll still have to try it out some, and hopefully it keeps running. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys like this. Like I said, like and comment if you're interested. See you guys next time.